Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:37. Chris Platt joins us in 30 minutes. It's Larry O'Connor with Mercedes Schlepp. Mercedes, you always flex on me that I live in Virginia.
Yeah, we have a great governor.
You have a great governor. Well, you also had Terry McAuliffe and Ralph Northam, okay?
Yeah, that was
and
pretty bad.
we have great ex-governors here in Maryland. And one of them is joining us right now, Bob Ehrlich, of course, former Maryland governor, who has been rather active lately on social media, governor. So I appreciate that, because a lot of us in Maryland, Republicans, independents, even some Democrats who still have a brain, are thinking to themselves, we got to fix this. And the folks in Annapolis ain't going to fix it. Westmore ain't going to fix it. So thanks for joining us. How are we going to fix this?
Well, first, it's good to talk to both of you. Secondly, when I go to Starbucks and tell them I'm the next governor, they still charge me $7 for a latte.
Well, in some neighborhoods, they probably charge you double, actually.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. And Kendall sends her love to both of you. Anyway, it's great to talk to you. It's very difficult to watch Annapolis. I have this feeling, as you do, as many Maryland taxpayers do. We've seen this movie before. Unfunded mandates driven by an education-related unfunded mandate, spiking electricity rates, ever more tax increases, and never a will to look at what they've done in the past. Always looking forward, always more, always additional taxes, never enough, ever. And so it's tough to watch.
So, as a Republican in this state, I feel like it's an insurmountable mountain. The best hope we have is that maybe somebody gets rid of Westmore, a Republican will run, so at least we can veto what these Democrats are doing. But you actually have laid out there, it's like, no, actually, we could make inroads here in this assembly. Is that reality? How can we do this?
It is reality. The one thing, despite my former position, governors come and go. The legislature is forever. And the fact of it is, when the Democratic Party was balanced, liberal, conservative, moderate wings, when I was in the legislature in the 80s, that's the 1980s, by the way, and a monopoly state was okay because the monopoly party was in balance. There were 13 Republicans in the House of Delegates when I was first elected to the legislature. So we were irrelevant, but because the Democrats were in balance, it was okay. Maryland was left of center, but not terribly left of center. As the monopoly party in the state has moved left, and now progressive left, the legislature reflects that move. Although there are more Republicans, we still don't have enough. So what my tweet was about, got a lot of attention, is picking up those marginal, mostly suburban, rural seats out there. They're competitive, that have been Republican in the past. Some have been gerrymandered, others not so much. So basically getting to that number, especially in the Maryland Senate, picking up three to five Senate seats would get there. That's a much more logical plan. It's a long-term plan. It's not an easy plan. You need quality candidates. You need the cash. Well, you're certainly going to have the issues to run on.
Yeah, need the cash, especially when we've seen not a lot of investment going into Maryland, because I think they somewhat have given it up to the left and the Democrats. But speaking of which, Governor Westmore, it sounds to me like he says he's running for governor. He says he's not running for president. But obviously, the Democrats really believe like he's an up-and-comer in the party, and they are so rudderless. They don't really have and leaderless at this point. Do you think Westmore will change his mind and decide, yes, I'm going to run for president? And with that being said, do you think Governor Larry Hogan will jump back into running for governor in Maryland again?
Mercedes, I have no idea. Governor would certainly be in that small group of Democrats who are being looked at and vetted, no doubt about that. But and as far as Governor Hogan, I'm not sure. I have not talked to him about this. But again, and that's important. Look, the governorship's huge. We know that. But again, when you have as many entrenched Democrats as you have, when you have this movement hard left, especially in the Maryland House of Delegates. The Senate's somewhat more moderate, but the fact of it is the House of Delegates is now way out there. It's California-like, if you will. Very, very hard left, and some of these and look, many of these Democrats have come from safe seats. You can't do anything about it, just the way it is. But some are Chamber of Commerce Democrats. They talk a good game when they go back to their district. They go to the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club. They sound moderate. It's all well and good. But if you look at their voting record, same thing in Congress, you know that. If you look at their voting record, it does not reflect these potentially competitive seats. That's the purpose of my tweet. Look at those competitive seats, hold them to account, find the candidates. We're not talking about spending money on 50, 60, 80 races here. We're talking 10, 12 races that are doable. And certainly, as I said, they're going to have the issues, environment, and the agenda to run. It is not easy. We are a rather weak party in a state overwhelmed by the progressive left. But there are Republican county executives, there are Republican local officials, and if there's a will among the remaining moderate to conservative Democrats in the state, and there are many of them, some of these races will be far more competitive than they have been in the past, and we can get to that critical number in the legislature. It's common sense. There are no alternatives. The other alternative is to move, and I get that sort of feedback. I get tweets. I get letters. On my Facebook every day. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm going. I can't wait to
Me
leave.
too.
I can't afford to live here.
So who leads this effort? In the last presidential election, 34% of Marylanders voted for Donald Trump. And that's, by the way, in an election where most Republicans or many Republicans probably stayed home because they thought it was a lost cause anyway. Clearly, we're not seeing that kind of electoral makeup in our congressional delegation and nor in the House of Delegates in Annapolis. So the votes are there. Who leads the effort to harness those votes and focus these priorities the way you just laid out?
Larry, I love your point. There are votes out there. And some of these suburban districts have moderate to right-leaning Democrats who can make the difference. That was my difference in my elections for Congress, for governorship, for Governor Hogan as well. The answer is...
It was Larry Hogan's difference, yeah.
It's always the difference in this state for any Republican to win statewide, obviously. Your point well taken. It's a combination. I have offered myself as someone, and I have been doing this for years, as you both know, helping young candidates run, doing fundraisers, looking at these seats. So certainly myself and Governor Hogan can play a role here. We're happy to do it. Congressman Harris has to lead, and he has been, and he'll continue to do so. And the state party as well. The state party it doesn't have a whole lot of money now, given our situation, given the numbers in Annapolis. But between the business community, and I'm talking about Main Street, not Wall Street here, and the state party, and the few of us who've had success in Maryland politics as Republicans, I think we can get it done. This is not brain surgery. You're talking about a dozen seats here.
Bob Ehrlich, thanks for joining us. You give us a little bit of hope here, and hopefully all the right people are listening. They're going to pick up the phone. They're going to have some conversations with you, and we can have a focused effort in the Assembly to actually start breaking this down. You got to do it one seat at a time. By the way, that's how the Democrats did it. You know, Colorado used to be a toss-up state. Now it's solidly blue, and they started by identifying those seats in the state legislature and building that majority. It's time for Maryland. It's time. Thank you, sir. Great talking with you.
Take care.
This is a great year to do it too, because you got Wes Moore. He's a paper tiger. He's an invisible man. He's cellophane. And you've got a perfect example of him inheriting a surplus and screwing it up, and now we're in deficit, and he's raising taxes. And meanwhile, Governor Youngkin, at the exact same time, in the exact same conditions, also had a surplus, and they've still got a surplus. So you tell me what the difference is. It's 8:45.
Move to Virginia. Sorry.
No, fix Maryland.